you have to have the same quality standards, including security, to what you provide, because ultimately your customers who are using the platform together with your partners are not going to be looking at the solution that you provided differently from the solution that your partner provided. So it has to be all cohesive. It needs to all speak to the same quality guardrails, the same standards, and not just quality, not just security, but literally to everything.
We're here with Elena Leonova of SPRYKER, the Senior Vice President of Product, and not only an extremely smart person when it comes to everything e-commerce, but also a mentor to so many people, which is really fantastic. Elena, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today with you.
Awesome. Now, we wanted to talk about, we were chatting before, and, I obviously follow, your posts on LinkedIn, and, you're always on top of things of what's going on in e-commerce. Obviously, SPRYKER is a really important platform in e-commerce as well. But you were calling out some things recently that I thought were really interesting around partnerships and the not only the power, but the importance of integrations. And for platforms, obviously, it doesn't matter if it's e-commerce or a different technology, that is so important. But before we get there, living in the e-commerce trenches day in, day out, and you've been doing this for quite some time now. Mm-hmm. This is a world that never stopped changing. I remember when I was in e-commerce 5-6 years ago, it felt like the Wild West at times, where you blink your eyes and everything is different. As we're going into this new year, what are some of the trends that you're seeing? What should we keep our eyes open for?
Absolutely. I think as every year, digital commerce, because it's such a I think commerce in general is actually such an old thing that people have been doing for many, many centuries now. So with digital commerce, it's pretty much the same. People have been doing this for a long time, but every year and every couple of years, they reinvent how they do it, because trade is something that is so essential to every single person. And when we look at 2024, and especially with AI and everything that happens around us, what we see that people do want to be connected to local goods more and more. So people become more selective in terms of what they buy, what are the sources of it, and they want to make sure that they actually receive the products that they truly care about and they value, or they stand for the same values as kind of the ones who actually produce them. So what we see is a lot about connections to local sources, and the platforms actually need to adapt to it as well. Another thing that we also see, especially with the rise of AI, is how everybody now wants to deliver something that they have not been able to do before, is to be hyper personalized with every single customer. Because customers love to feel important. Obviously, they want to have this personal touch. And obviously for every single company, it used to be really difficult. Now with AI, you can always feel, or you can always actually be personal. It becomes easier for you, but the customers love it so much because to some extent, they are not able to tell the difference. And only when you need, as a person to jump into that conversation, then you have the chance to do it as a person who runs the business. So I think those are the two main trends. And we can probably talk for hours about the other things, right, because so many other things that are happening. But those are the two main things that we're seeing a lot. And that obviously impacts how people want to do commerce, what they want to have from their digital commerce platforms, and what customers expect from the people that they buy from.
Yeah. And so can you share, obviously not asking you to share any research and development projects that you guys are doing for the future, but if you look, in the last few months or maybe the last year, what have you guys been doing differently to create that, hyper personalization, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about digital commerce platform, and I'll use SPRYKER as an example, but it's actually applicable to anybody who's building a platform, right, whether digital commerce or any other platform. In platforms, the most important responsibility of the platform is to multiply the value that this platform can provide to others. And the way you can do it is actually by having more partners who integrate with you. But we all know that integration is always a challenging task. It takes a lot of time. You go through the data, mappings, and kind of understand all of this. It's time consuming, it's cumbersome, prone to a lot of mistakes, and just simply takes a lot of time. However, like what we have been seeing with AI is that part becomes much easier. And when it becomes much easier, it actually has the triple effect that now for any platform, it's easier to have those value-added services available on the platform. So for example, like we are working with partners like Bloomreach and Algolia and others who augment and complement what we offer from a search perspective, from personalization perspective. So then our kind of services are being complemented by theirs, and our customers as a result just win by so much because they are now able to have the really fast integrations, and most importantly, they can serve their customers in a much better way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I believe is really happening right now in the world of partnerships, AI, and commerce.
Yeah. Now, a question I want to ask you, because now that we talk about partnerships and alliances, and I love that you say, like, we can do a better job and faster job to make these integrations, because it doesn't matter what technology industry you're in. Often when companies talk about their partner ecosystem, you see the same slide with like a big circle of like 100 logos, and there might be some API connections. They're not always true integrations. As a platform, when you work with a lot of partners, you have to, as a platform, you need to take all that value. How do you ensure that what you want to do as an innovation is aligned with the vision of those partners? Because true innovation can only happen when multiple companies work together to make something of an adopted way of doing things, a standard, if you will. Because otherwise, if innovation stays within one company, it's never really going to scale. Like how, as a senior leader, how do you go about that? Like, how do you, that from a strategic perspective, how do you work with your partners in that way?
This is honestly one of my favorite topics to talk about.
Awesome.
I was literally just in the call before this one talking to somebody about this. So first of all, like as a platform, we are responsible for the most fundamental things, like the things that will enable everybody else to bring innovation to the platform, and then kind of create this network effect together by serving the customers. And the only way to do it is where we, as a platform builders, we need to be 100% transparent with all of our partners about what we're planning to do, what we are not planning to do, and where we can win together, and never compete with the partners, but actually see them as true partners. You don't compete with your partners, you work together with them, and kind of make sure that we get their feedback on where they want to take their products, where we want to take our products, and kind of look for those joint and mutual use cases where we can serve our customers better. And this is exactly what I have been doing at SPRYKER for the last 2 years that I've been here, for example, looking at our ideal customer profile for us together with our partners, communicating really clearly and transparently with our partners about what we do, what we plan to do, what is our future 5-year roadmap, and where they can actually see their place in it. And from there, just executing on a daily basis, delivering the vision of the platform together, but with partners.
Awesome. Now, I mean, there's a lot of, when I just listen to you, there's excitement and you energize, which is great. We have to, people, you can't talk about new technologies or innovation these days without people expecting you also to turn the metal around and say like, oh, this is exciting. This might be a little scary at times as well. In e-commerce, I've seen from a security angle, I've seen AI issues with, AI chat engines spewing out customer sensitive data because somebody asked a support chat engine that, and that wasn't properly set up, or, less than kosher drop shipping, stores that pop up and disappear before people can complain about something not being delivered. And all of these that can also happen much faster with the use of AI. For you as a senior vice president of a key player, it's clear what you're excited about, but what keeps you up at night today?
Well, I think you've spoken about the right things. I think the security and the data privacy is definitely something that is absolutely important because as a platform, we have access to a lot of data, and that data needs to be properly gated. It needs to be secure, and it needs to be available. Needs to be made available only to those people who have the rights to see it. There's obviously lots of kind of cases that you can think of. The more AI has the data, the more innovative AI can be, but it all comes with the pros and cons. And for me, the biggest thing that I obviously always watch for is how much data do we actually expose, and then do we have the secure practices around it. And so far, we've been finding the great balance with that and delivering the great solutions. And I just continue that or hope that this is exactly going to continue in the future.
Awesome. So, to bring all of this together, one of the benefits of the e-commerce revolution of the last few decades was that it was so focused on user experience, and unfortunately, at times, the security that you just mentioned was sometimes sacrificed, right? Like, people came with fantastic ways to doing commerce, and then security had to be built in after the fact, if you will. You talk about now, like, this is clearly really important to you, the fact that data is safe, user privacy is safe. So when we go back to figuring out who are you going to be a strategic partner with, who has a really great value to bring to your platform, but knowing that you're so serious about security, is do you look today differently at potential new partners than people may have done 10-15 years ago in e-commerce? From a security angle, are you going to analyze companies' trustworthiness, the security rating, all that kind of stuff before working together as partner now? Have you seen that change?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when choosing the right partner for any company to work with, especially in the platform scenario, it's absolutely important to first, as we talked about at the beginning, to evaluate partners for the match with what you do, right? So then it needs to be the same ideal customer profile. You need to have the same goals and the same vision for the future of whatever niche you're focusing on. But at the same time, you have to have the same quality standards, including security, to what you provide, because ultimately your customers who are using the platform together with your partners are not going to be looking at the solution that you provided differently from the solution that your partner provided. So it has to be all cohesive. It needs to all speak to the same quality guardrails, the same standards, and not just quality, not just security, but literally to every single standard, whether it's a user experience standard, performance, security, quality, business value, and so on. So hopefully that answers your questions for how the partnerships work in this digital commerce space. And Jasper, so did you get it?
I got it.
What happens is that we then inform these EEGs, right, which this collection of EEGs, and use that data to then generate a continuous impulse that is both audio and visual.